Okay, so further expanding from the previous video, I really want to connect these positions on the fretboard with a different lick. So previous video we were taking a look at this lick. This time round I actually want to descend, and I'm going to be using a very Hendrix approach to this, and I just find that it's a great way to move around, especially in major keys, when you're playing ballads, when you're playing pop, and approaching those kind of sounds, okay? Great way to move around the fretboard, and it sounds like this. As you can hear there, it's got a very Hendrix approach. Once again, it does slot into that kind of John Mayer thing as well, which I'm totally a sucker for. And it's a great way to move around the fretboard, but that way. Okay, so we're building our arsenal up of different licks to travel the fretboard, so we're going to feel more comfortable when we're improvising and we pull these licks out. Okay, what we're starting off with is we're going to be barring the E and the B string together. And this is really important because we're trying to get this harmony, okay? There's no point going... As good as that sounds, it sounds even better when you get the E string involved as well. Okay? And we're creating harmony there. Then we're switching a position to the B and G. So the first step followed by this new position where we're not barring so much. It's more the first finger and the middle finger separately. And we're going to be looking at the G string here and the B string for our second finger. This third finger is going to stay free because we actually want to hammer on to create that harmony. Okay, so a lot of things to think about, especially if you've never played in this kind of style before or approached scales in this way. But it is a great starter lick to get your fingers moving and get into this kind of style. Okay, so once again, first position, followed by the second, and then we're going to move down. And look at that little flick there, very reminiscent of the previous lick, where we're just adding these tiny little details that give it that musical vocal approach. Okay, so if you need to run that at home and just drill it and drill it and drill it until you feel comfortable, go for it. Pause the video and do that now. And then we're going to return to this bar, which to me sounds like a full stop to a sentence. It's kind of like relief, you know. And reason being is I kind of see that as the back end of a D chord. Okay, it's the A shape to the D chord. So that's why it sounds like it's resolving, because it is essentially. So that's a great place to stop, but we're actually going to carry on. So, story so far. We're going to carry on with the octave here. We're going to bar the G and the D together. Look at that, we've got that little flick happening. Okay, we're going to move to the A and the D now. Okay. So once again, need to drill those positions, go ahead, pause and do so. And then we're going to finally do that little flick here in this octave. So this is the D and the E. And then finally we're going to finish with this chord. Okay? Ultimately you could also do this, which to me sounds more like a resolve. I just out of habit always bar that as well, because if I'm continuing to play and I'm not finishing my lick there, it kind of sounds unfinished, which is nice as well. Either or, both great approaches. So let's stitch this together slowly. Halfway point. And altogether, we should be left with something that sounds like this. You can add small little details as well, such as slowing down, coming down the scale. That's a mouthful, isn't it? Slowing down, coming down. But what I mean by that is something like this. You know, just little things here and there just to make it more fun once you've mastered that initial first lick. You can even be a bit more lazy, a little bit more laid back about coming down. Okay, so maybe not as lazy as that, I'm just exaggerating that here just to show you what is actually happening in terms of the scale. Okay, so build it up. And then you should be left with something like this. Cool, hope you enjoyed lick number 2. And yeah, we're starting to really build our licks up now in the key of D major.